Name is Tiffany Abel. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tiffany Abel, and you have been invited here tonight by somebody who is possibly in the same boat as you, which would be somebody like me who is over 35 and um experiencing some of the great, wonderful things that we get to go through as we get older in life. And those are the things that come along with, that's right, the dreaded M word, menopause. But we don't have to suffer and we don't have to suffer alone. Menopause is mandatory, symptoms are optional. We have an amazing product that we're going to tell you a little bit more tonight as we go along. And this is a safe space. You're probably going to hear some words that you wouldn't hear being shared about in a public space because Lord knows Facebook would probably shut it down, take it down, and kick us off for 30 days. Um, and everything is safe here. So if you want to ask a question at the end, what we can do is we can stop the recording and we can do a Q&A at the end so that if you want to talk about that uncomfortableness, we can. So, there's a few things that I would say I would call them menopause myths. And I found quite a few people that have this belief, and it's one that I want to share with you. Um, I've been getting a lot of feedback that says, "Oh, girl, you know what? I'm in I'm in my late 60s. I went through menopause so many years, this many years ago, but thanks for reaching out to me." Hmm. Didn't know that we came out of menopause. Now, I want you ladies to think about this. How do we come out of menopause? Menopause is the action of our menstrual cycle stopping. The only way to come out of menopause is for our menstrual cycle to start again. So if your menstrual cycle has not started again, I'm sorry, boo, but you're in menopause. It don't matter how old you are. It don't matter if Aunt Flo stopped coming to town when you were 40 and you thought that menopause stopped when you were 45. No, 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 no. You 65 and you still in menopause. Because if you think about it, and here's the really scary part, there's over 103 plus symptoms of menopause. Yes, if we weren't tortured enough, there is over 103 plus symptoms of menopause. So that's the one thing. Anybody that is a guest here, I want you, when this Zoom is over, if you have not seen that list, I want you to connect with the person that invited you, and I want you to say, "Hey, girl, show me that list." Because I guarantee you there is at least 3 to 5 symptoms that you are dealing with daily. And those 3 to 5 symptoms, you don't have to be dealing with daily, thanks to the new plant-based natural supplement called Her. Those will go away. And I want to say that again. Those will go away from natural plant-based. So, back to the some of the symptoms, some of the things that, oh, let's not do symptoms. I have 34. Sean, I love you. You went through and counted. I didn't want to go through and count them all. I just kind of went through and went, "Oh, yeah, that one." And yeah, I didn't count them. I just there was one thing I was talking to my husband. I said, I don't know if it says, "Oh, she be a bitch someday." I don't know if that said it on there, but I know that that's a big symptom, because that happens. And you know what? Like I said, ladies, this is a safe space, and I'm telling you, if we all can't say that, we know what happens because it all of a sudden we just turn around and we snap and we're like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" And then you want to just kind of shrink down, but you're like, you know what? Yeah, whatever. It just goes because they love us. They love us and they stay and they put up with it because they have to. But there is another thing of menopause. This one blew my mind. I'm 42 years old. I no longer get a menstrual cycle, but I have not gotten a menstrual cycle for 8 years. The reason I don't get a menstrual cycle was because I had a lot of female problems, and they went in and they did a procedure called a DNC and ablation, which stopped my menstrual cycle. And with that being said, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think, you don't, because 8 years ago, I don't want to do the math, but I was in my 30s. I was in my early 30s. I was below 35. And so, why would you even, okay, IUD, that is birth control stopped. So, birth control stopped is not menopause because that's hormonal stop. So, if it's hormonal stop, birth control, that's not menopause unless it comes out. Like if your IUD came out and it didn't recharge, then you're looking. Okay, so we'll get into that one. So with the DNC and ablation, I have not had a cycle. If you go more than 8 months without a menstrual cycle, that's menopause. That's premenopause, perimenopause, that's menopause, which explains a whole lot. It explains why I'm I've been waking up and under my breasts are soaked, my neck is soaked, my hair is soaked. I I've been having hot flashes off and on. I thought that was a side effect to a medication I was taking. No, all these years that's actually been menopause. And I didn't know it. Nobody told me that by having a medical procedure done and stopping my menstrual cycle, it would start menopause. So that is a big thing. Um, and so that's if you go longer than 8 months, there is also, now I'm not a medical professional. This is all information that came from the scientists, the research, and things like that. And they also, can you still have a cycle and have symptoms? That's something to talk to your doctor about because if it's maybe not um normal, if it's not, if you're not cycling normal, how you can find out if you are in the premenopausal and menopausal stages is you can go to your doctor and there is a blood test they can do. And they check your levels and they see where you're at on a, I don't know if they have a chart or a spectrum or whatever they have, but they check your levels and then they will let you know where you are in the stages of menopause. So it is very, very scientific, I guess. So yes, and so a lot of the symptoms start around 35 for most women and we don't realize it, but that's when you kind of start. And I wanted to before I pass the mic, there is one other thing that I want to share with you guys because once everything all came into play for me, this made a huge aha moment. So, one of the things that also comes into play with menopause and hormones is either weight gain or the ability also to not be able to release weight no matter what you do, right? So, balancing hormones, symptom relief, and things like that. That is also why we have something called the daily health system. If the person that invited you here has not told you about the daily health system, it is for metabolic health. I want to show you guys something. Oh, let me move my light. This is me. I am now, I got to update these pictures, but I am now 89 pounds down with the daily health system. And it is all due to metabolic health. And part of it is due to balancing out hormones. So everything comes into play here. It is a super amazing thing when you balance out hormones and everything gets going and the wheels get greased. So that is something I just wanted to drop a little seed about because I can't help but talk about those products because those literally have changed my life, guys, and I have to plug them in everywhere we go. And I know we came here to talk about menopausal relief, but I had to plug that in. So, Rob, would you like me to turn it over to you or would you like me to turn it over to Renee?
Um, I want to say one thing before we turn it over to Renee because Renee has an amazing story that y'all need to hear about. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a gay man who is a hairdresser for the last 24 years. And I have the the I don't know, is it am I lucky or the privilege or whatever it is to listen to many females behind my chair. Sorry if I'm getting wonky, my internet's kind of weird. But a lot of women tell me their problems because the three people you should never lie to is your doctor, your hairdresser, and a lawyer, right? And I feel like having the gay card, uh, and I'm just being funny here, but I think women in my chair, because they like, know, and trust me, because I'm literally physically touching them every 6 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, they feel more like they can be honest with me and tell me more of their problems. And they tell me more of the problems that they have more than they tell me more than they tell even their husbands because sometimes it's not inconvenient, it's uncomfortable for them to talk about their problems, right? And so when I was in beauty school, I'm going to tell you this. We were learning like you shouldn't wash your hair every day and things like that. And I would tell my mom that I'm like, you shouldn't wash your hair every day. She's like, honey, I haven't washed my hair but once a week for the longest time because let me tell you, at my age, we dry up and we dry up everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was super uncomfortable with my mom telling me that she had vaginal dryness. And I was like, that's not something I need to know about, right? Um, but having a conversation with so many more women over the years, I realized that is just one of the symptoms or side effects of having menopause. And so I want to turn it over to Renee. Renee and I did a Facebook Live on her page the other day, and she was very open and honest to share something that happened to her last November. And I think it can really relate to some people here. And so I want to turn it over to Renee. So Renee, if you would be so obliged to unmute yourself and be open and share. And then Tiffany is going to put you on the screen.
Okay, I guess she went ahead and muted you. Hi, everyone. My name is Renee. On November 29th of last year, I ended up having to have a hysterectomy due to endometriosis. So I had a very bad case of endometriosis. It was all inside. If you guys didn't know, it's blue. Endometriosis is blue. I was really shocked. I didn't know I looked like a Smurf on the inside of inside of my body. So I found out that prior to the surgery, they were going to leave my ovaries because if they left my ovaries, then I wouldn't go into menopause. And the discussion was if it was bad, they were going to take the ovaries and take everything out. I found out that the endometriosis was wrapped around all my ovaries, which could lead to ovarian cancer. And when they find out that it's ovarian cancer, it's usually stage 4. So they did go ahead and remove all of that. Well, if you guys didn't know, if you have a full hysterectomy, you go into menopause like that. Due to the endometriosis being so bad, it's on my bladder, and I cannot go on hormone replacement therapy. I have to wait about 6 months until all the estrogen is out of my body. So the endometriosis dies off of my bladder. So my hormone levels have been like this. I can cry in an instant. I can yell in an instant. I've been all over the place. The hot sweats are no joke. I feel like a hot mess all the time. There's times where I'll just sit there and I'm peeling off stuff, and I'll tell you, my husband loves it, and he goes like, "Keep going." He's like, "Woohoo!" I'm like, "Just stop." I'm like, "I can't deal with this." I'll be sleeping. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm just dying. I just feel like my head's on fire. So I went over that list of 103 things, and I'm like, yep, 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 yep. And I'm sure a lot of you women can relate as well. So I was so excited. I have this right by my side. It's the For Her that we just launched over the weekend at convention in Utah, and I started taking it on Saturday. And I got to tell you, my hot flashes have gone down. I have a mini flash so far, and it's only been a couple days where I'm not like boiling anymore and I'm not peeling off clothes. I've been sleeping better. So, so far, it's been amazing. And it hasn't even been a full week yet. So that's my short version. So I just got to tell you, so far it's working. And because of the estrogen that I cannot have, this is all plant based. It has no hormones in it and it does not affect any estrogen in your body. So if any women out there ask you about it, you can tell them that it is safe and it's not going to affect them with their endometriosis. So props to Trinont with this.
Oh,
I wanted
Renee.
to chime in, Tiffany, I wanted to chime in really quickly, because there is a slide that I have, and I thought it was really interesting. And when we were learning all about menopause and the 103 plus symptoms, there was a slide by this researcher woman on stage, and the whole entire audience gasped. Okay, remember, I was just one of very few men in the audience listening, observing, and I really was listening to the sounds of people what they're making, and it was, I think, a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning for so many people, and then actually as the conference went farther and farther, more people were chatting, and then by the end of the conference there were tons of conversations of women coming together talking about issues that they're having, and I thought it was really awesome that now this is conversation, this is a part of the conversation, right?
Can I
And
share one quick
yeah,
story?
oh please, yeah.
Okay, so at work, you know how they have like those TikToks and stuff where women take pee tests to see if you're pregnant? Do you know they have pee tests to see if you're in menopause? And one of my coworkers bought tests and we all went and peed on the sticks to see which, because there's five of us in the office, to see which ones of us are in menopause. But what she didn't realize is you're supposed to take the five tests like one every other day, but we all did a pee test. So I just had to share that because I thought that was funny. We're like, instead of who's pregnant, who's in menopause? Okay, sorry, Rob. I just
Like,
had to share it because it was so freaking funny because we're all going to all to the bathroom with our sticks to see who's in menopause.
oh my gosh. Crazy thing you ladies do at work, right? Can you imagine if someone found out they were pregnant and they had no idea? Oh my gosh, that would have been a story.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this slide that they posted, um, were like the top 10 things a doctor would tell you about menopause. Okay, all right. So just bear with me here. Number one, the number one thing a doctor is going to tell you about libido and sex drive survey. Okay, this is a survey. This is like the real deal here. Okay. Um, Use lubrication. Okay, so the main thing a doctor is telling women is, girl, just use some more lubrication. Because and we were laughing about the VD, vaginal dryness, and it was so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. The second one was hormone therapy. Third, compassion and understanding, but no advice. So they were compassionate and then they were understanding and maybe a little bit empathetic, but they gave you no advice in your appointment. The next one was actually a lot. That's when I heard the gasp. Do it anyway. Take one for the team. It's part of being a wife, right? So you're just supposed to roll over and take it, right? Because your husband, whatever, right? And the next one, take antidepressants, compassion and understanding with advice. Go on dates with your partner. Use a vibrator. Use it or lose it, right? So if you don't keep doing it, you're gonna lose it. I don't know. It's kind of like riding a bike, isn't it? Right? Um, Try natural supplements. Sorry, guys, I'm just like and then the one highlighted was try natural supplements. Okay. Lose weight, vaginal estrogen, experiment with sex toys, find other ways to enjoy sex, drink wine, and couples therapy. So drink wine was like, okay. And honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, my sister, completely honest, my sister is no longer attracted to her husband. And my sister told me she has no libido. And she's 42, 8 years, she's 41 years old. She's 8 years younger than me. And so I messaged her right away when we got back from our seminar. And I said, hey, would you be willing for me to tell you a couple things I learned? And she said, sure. And I said, one of the things I learned is your sex drive is probably no longer because you are in menopause. She's like, how dare you? Dare you tell me? Right? She didn't want to know that she was in menopause because she just didn't want to have sex with her husband. Right? And um, she had confided in me that she was purposely drinking a bottle of wine before she was going to have sex with her husband because he wanted to have intimacy with her and she felt guilty that she wasn't wanting intimacy. So she was drinking a bottle of wine in order to put herself into a mindset that she wasn't feeling like bad about herself, that she was giving into sexual intimacy. And I'm sure most of us here can really take this to heart that there are people that we have conversations with that now we're looking back and we're like, wow, this is really something that people are dealing with on the daily. And now we're being able to conversate about it. Renee has her hand up again.
Oh, my coworker at work told me that her doctor said, asked her, "Oh, are you still getting horny that you want to have sex? Because if you're not, then you must be sick."
Hmm,
And she's like, "Oh no, I'm okay." He goes, "Okay, great, you're not sick then." So that's still out there that it's yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let's bring it back to Tiffany. Thank you, you guys. Thank you for being open about that, Renee.
So Rob kind of beat me to my next thing that I was quick going to touch on before we wrapped up, and that was intimacy. And I wasn't going to go all on the whole vaginal dryness and Sahara Desert versus what a water slide is supposed to be and that kind of thing. I was actually going to hit what he just hit on because um, the truth behind it, I'm um, vaginal dryness. We'll touch that for a second. Vaginal dryness doesn't just come down to sex. Vaginal dryness comes down to uncomfortableness, soreness, discomfort, all of the other things that come with it, ladies. And the for her helps. It's going to take care of that. Um, let's recap what Rob was saying because I think a lot of us were kind of sitting there going, yeah, wait a second. Like, you want me to be completely honest? My husband is amazing. I love my husband with all my heart. But if we had to be honest and we had to drop a one in the chat with our relationships, well, a one if it's our husband or a two if it's us, when we're intimate, who initiates sex? One if the husband, two if the wife. I know I'm putting a one in there because I'm at the point where it's just like, you know, but, as we get going a little bit more, I remember, wait a second. Yeah, my body does like this. I know my body likes it. I know my body wants it, but here's the thing. I want my body again to look at my husband and want my husband. I want my body to look at my husband and get those tingles. Well, guess what? This helps. It's going to help you feel that way again. It's going to help you feel that normal. You're going to start getting those tingles. Go and look at your husband with his shirt off and his little pants around his hips, and then he's gonna go, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And I'm gonna go, "What?" And he's gonna go, "Are you haven't?" I think he asked me if I was having a stroke or something. He just looked at me like, and I'm like, "What? I can't look at you like that." So it you get to feel back to how you used to, and then you're like, "Oh, wait a second." And it makes so basically, and I believe it was Kesley that said this, let us help you help him help you feel good. Okay. So But also what we're doing is we're helping you to help your husband feel good again, to put that spark back in there. We're going to help you step it up. Let you be the one that's going to walk up to your husband and wrap your arms around him and do the little, you know, because our husbands, we want to make them feel special. We want to make them feel wanted, you know, because they, you know, they're men. They're always horny for the most part, right? You know, so we need to Rob, it's kind of safe space, but that kind of like that old cheesy pickup line, you know, who has two thumbs and a, what is it, two thumbs and a smile and likes blowjobs? This guy, you know, it was horrible. God. But it's one of those things that we just to be able to look at our husband and feel that excitement again. I mean, I look at my husband and I still have butterflies, but I'd love to have more tingles and not to have to be reminded that I like the tingles, you know? And this does that. And ladies, you want to start, you know, just being able to look at him and get your tingles, give it a try. I'm telling you, you're not going to be unsatisfied in more ways than one. But with anything, give it give it a good 6 to 12 weeks and let it go. This product is not going to break your bank. It's going to make you feel better. Gonna make him feel better. And it's going to make everybody in your house feel better because remember that little itchy bitchy thing I was telling you about in the beginning where you turn around and you snap? It's going to control that too. So, with that being said, I'm going to end it with saying, please get back to the person that invited you here. Ask them for that list of 103 symptoms. If you don't know what our daily health system is, please inquire about that. If you have not seen a group called the Ripple Effect, we're running out of time. Ask about that and chat with them about the For Her. And I appreciate you all for coming. We're going to turn off the recording and we're going to open this up for a Q&A so that you guys are in a safe space.